This is Sandy from Lagoon Designs, and I thought that tonight would be a good night to do some mermaids. It's, after all, Mermaid. Everybody's talking about it, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity for us to take advantage of that, and the fact that I agreed to do the Artful Angel new release, which is live today. And so there's a hop out on Instagram if you want to join in, but this is her new release. So there's two little boy mermen and two little girl mermaids, and they're so cute. And then there's this sentiment set, have a mermazing birthday, and this cute crab in a shell, be a mermaid, make waves, mermaids don't lose sleep over the opinions of shrimp, and have a mermazing birthday. So I don't know which one of those we'll use tonight, but we'll definitely use one of those sentiments. And then I chose two of the mermaids, one boy, one girl, because, you know, I figured you guys would want to see a boy and a girl colored up. And they're not too big, so I think we should be able to do that. And then I also got this watercolors craft papers from their shop as well. I thought this would be good for the mermaid. You can use a lot of these different papers for that. So these are the ones that I have on Instagram that I did the other night. So these are the cards I already made, and we're gonna make one tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. We're also going to use a stencil tonight. Hi Beth, hi Peggy. We're gonna actually use one of the stencils that is going to be in the Lagoon Designs shop as soon as we open it up. Hey Beth, thanks for commenting. I was just about to ask. So we're gonna use a stencil from Lagoon Designs because I needed it, and so you all get a sneak peek for when we open it up. But we're going to use our Bubbles stencil. So I have that and some paper from here. And then we're going to color these two cute little mermaids from the Artful Angel set. And I'm going to have Dale post my affiliate link in this group whenever, in a few minutes. So if you guys want to get it, you can go out there and look. But look at that crab. Isn't that crab cute? I love that little crab. Finally, you caught me at the beginning. Yes, you did. So you get to see all of it tonight. We're going to use two colors with the stencil. So I have those pulled out. So we're going to use Oxides, Mermaid, Lagoon, and Tumbled Glass. This little sticky mat, you guys have seen me use it before, but it is from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, whichever one it is, Dollar Tree, I think. And my images stick on it. You know, they stick really good. So I can color and they won't move around, and I can have them cut out so you don't have to sit here and watch me fussy cut them. So it works out really good. Thanks, Dale, for the post preview of the shop. So super excited. Yes, he definitely wanted that out there. I mean, I don't know how many of you knew me from Sweet Sentiment Stamps, but some of the stuff that we had in, well, towards the end, the majority of everything we had in the shop was designed by either Dale or myself. So I retained copyrights, and that's why we're going to bring a bunch of it back, especially the stuff that was only in the shop for a very short time before it closed. So so we're going to bring it all back to give everybody an opportunity to get those things that you missed. And I am super excited. There's going to be a bunch of new stuff. It's not just a replica of what it was before. And we also, in the interim, we sold a few things to Pajama Crafter Stamps, and they put it in their shop. But the original designs were were Dale's. So
those were
what
our stuff has always been.
Yes.
Even though you've done other stuff, our stuff has always been under the banner
Lagoon Designs
from the very beginning of anything that we produced.
Yes. So if you own any stamps from Sweet Sentiment and you look at the bottom corner, it'll say, you know, artwork by. And if it says Lagoon Designs, it was mine, and it will probably make an appearance at some point. Okay, so let's get started. I did look through this paper pack. I really like this paper pack. And I decided that we're going to use one of these colors on our card. Yes, I remember the Sweet Sentiments. I'm so happy for you. Thank you, Beth. I didn't give up on my dream, so we're just going to do it together. These four right here, one of those is what I'm going to use tonight. So I chose colors that would go with that for my mermaids. So tonight we're going to do one in purple, one in blue. We're going to add some green. And then I haven't decided on hair color, so we may get to that as we go along. So we'll start with skin and we'll move on to that later. Hey, Meg. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so tonight we're going to use a light skin tone color. So we're going to start with our base foundation of E000, and then we're going to move on to RV95. We're going to use E11, E21, and E00. We are not going to use E13. I feel like that's too dark for them living in the ocean, so we're going to do that. So that's where we're starting. I'm so glad to see you guys here tonight. It seems like we have quite a few people popping in and out, so that is awesome. Are you designing stamps for anyone right now? I'm designing stamps for the Lagoon Designs shop. I'm no longer designing stamps for Pajama Crafters, so that is not anymore. I did design for one, I did a special project for someone out of Vegas, but they are not, they have not been revealed yet. So I did that a while back, but she is not ready to present those to the public yet. So there may be a couple that go through her, just because she has like a special theme that she's doing, and she needed an artist for it, and it wouldn't be a theme that I would necessarily put in my shop because it's a niche theme. And so I may maintain working with her and drawing images for her. She doesn't want a whole lot, so it's just a couple here and there. But when they go live, I already have a copy of them. So when she does put them in her shop, I will definitely do a live and let you guys see them. They're pretty cool, and I'm super excited about them. So I'll let you know when those are on the market as well. But I have been drawing for our company, so you'll start seeing the Lagoon Designs artwork coming through our shop as soon as we open it. And right now we're currently waiting for we're loading up everything on the, if you went to www.lagoondesigns.com, you can see that the shop is going to be there. It says coming soon. It doesn't show you anything about the site yet because we're still loading everything in it, but we do have a site. We just don't have everything completed yet, and we're waiting for the first release to come in. It's already been ordered, approved. We're just waiting for it to get shipped to me. And once we have that, that's when we'll choose a date for the grand opening, and you guys will certainly know, especially if you're following the Lagoon Designs social media, then you'll definitely know. So there's nothing like working for yourself, that's for sure. And Dale and I do pretty good as teamwork. We've done several things. You know, he was also part of our Sweet Sentiment team. He did all the financials and all the stencils and 3D thing designing for Sweet Sentiment. So, I mean, it was Lagoon Designs, but we hired him for Sweet Sentiment. So now I know we're going to work well together and it's going to be super exciting. So it's just going to be us. Thank you, Meg. We're excited too.
Working for that candy.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super stoked about it. We've been working on a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, and every single time Dale makes something new, he says, do you want to show this to everybody? And I'm like, no, we have to wait. They're not going to have any surprises if we show it all to them right away. Hey, Jana, we do make a great team. We have a really good time, and you know, we both have craft rooms in the house, so it just was kind of meant to be. Okay, so we now have the dark shadow color on this guy, and I did put it all the way along the bottom. Not sure I really wanted to do that, but it looks like he has a beard right now. But I did it, and now it's done, and we'll make it work. Hey. So E11 is the next one. So we used RV95 and E11. So I'm just going to soften these edges. This is going to keep the skin pretty light. And feel free to chime in if you want a certain color hair, because I have no idea what color I'm doing these hairs. But remember that I said she's going to have a pink mermaid tail and he's going to have a blue mermaid tail. So we kind of want the hair to match. Meaning we can't give her like pink hair because it won't look right with the other colors that I chose. So I know we don't see mermen very often. These little ones are super cute. So how many of you guys have heard of Artful Angel? Have you heard of that? It is Karis, and she lives fairly close to me. So I was over there the other day visiting with her for a bit, and she said, do you want to do my new release? And I was like, sure. So that's how that all came about. I just got these stamps like 3 days ago. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do them. So that's probably something else I should mention, is that I will still be coloring other people's images and sharing other people's designs with mine. So you'll still see, because I feel like it's a big craft industry and everyone likes different designs. And so I want to give everyone the opportunity to see other people that I enjoy working with, see their stuff as well. I won't be on any other design teams or anything like that because I just don't have time. But occasionally I might do a new release, or, you know, I have an addiction to Sassy Club stamp sets, so I'll probably continue to buy them, and I'll have lots of them, so I'll want to color too. Yes, you've heard of Artful Angel. You have, but you've never bought. She carries more than just her designs in the shop, so sometimes you can catch some other things in her shop. I bought like, I think 6 paper pads when I was at her house, because she had some really cute ones, and she definitely had doodle bugs, so I was all about that. And a few I'd never heard of. And then this pack that we're going to use tonight was one that just matched the mermaids so well that I decided to pick up that one too. I'd love to see you color other people's styles. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I've always loved it. And honestly, if you had to watch me color the same images over and over, because while we're just starting up, our store will be a bit smaller than most. And I won't have that much stuff to begin with. We'll just build as we go along, and you guys can join in the journey. And that way I can still do other people's stuff and you won't have to watch the same thing. Nobody wants to watch the same thing a million times. So that is the plan. And I think it'll be fun. The whole journey will be really fun and we'll all do it together. I'm going to put a little bit of pink on his cheeks, but I'm going to go all the way to R00. It's extremely light. I don't want to give him really bright cheeks. So I'm just going to use this R00 to add a teeny bit of pink to his cheeks. It won't be much, but I don't want him to have rosy cheeks. I just want him to have a little bit. Yeah, I love coloring and I love helping people promote and all that stuff. And I don't want to stop doing that. So it won't change if you guys still want to see something colored or you have a request for a specific thing. All you have to do is ask and I will help you out by doing the best I can to pick an image that you want to see colored, like we did the curly hair the other day. That was a request. And I even went out and purchased the images from the shop that person suggested, just so we could really touch base on what she wanted to see, how it was colored. So I'm open to help with any of that. So definitely just reach out to me. See, we fixed his chin. It doesn't even look like he has a beard now. I knew we could fix it. This is our E00, where we're just making sure everything blends together and filling in that last little bit of skin. And these little guys, they're just really cute. And I'm not used to getting boy mermaids, but I like him. He's cute. Yeah, and these images look super happy. They're just a smaller set. One is 4x6 and I think one is like 4x4. So that's the 4x6 with all the mermaids, and the 4x4 has the small shell and the crab and the sentiments. All right, so we have his skin done. So let's go ahead and do hers, and then we can put these markers aside and work on something else. So let's put this E000. I'm going to make them with the same skin tone since they're going to be on the same card. And I think there's a giveaway on the hop. Honestly, I didn't really pay attention because I knew I couldn't win because I was participating in the release and I already have the images. But I think you could win too. So check out my Instagram. That's where it's at. And then if you hop along, you get the opportunity to win something. Sorry, I can't remember what that something is, but there we go. Hey, Meg. I think I don't know, Facebook must be doing some weird stuff because people are dropping off and popping in a couple of times, and I hope it's not giving you guys too hard a time. This is the RV95. I'm going to put it all along the top of her hair since it would be, you know, hanging over her face. I like that both of these mermaids have different hair. The two girl mermaids have different hair, and I like that because it gives you more ability to practice on different type of hair. This is long flowing hair, but it's not technically not straight. So this is going to have a little bit of a not really curly hair, but it is going to give us a wavy hair. So we'll get a little practice on that as well. So there we go. And I love the size of the lines on the images. I know, me too. Yeah. I like to have my lines on my images larger like this. The little piece right here, I'm going to use that as though it's the same color as her tail. Like it's a, I don't know, part of her fin, not part of her stomach hanging out, if that makes sense. I mean, you could do it either way, but I think I want it to be, you know, part of her outfit. My internet feels unstable or something. Oh, okay. Yeah. It feels like you might not be the only one. I figured the lives were late enough that they wouldn't get, like, the problem with doing a live early, like at 6 or 5, is that's when everybody gets home from work and they all pop on the internet for a bit. And it's usually really busy. When we were doing them at 9 and 9:30, we had less of that kind of problem because people were already winding down and not spending so much time on the internet. But I think that maybe tonight there's more people on. We have storms rolling through in the Midwest. Oh, Beth, that could be it too. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Stay safe out there. Thunderstorms make me a little nervous sometimes. There we go. Storms coming through there too. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a bummer. I'm going to go back in real quick with my RV95 because I kind of missed this little part, like right here, closest underneath her neck, and it would have some dark color on it. So I'm going to go back in. Yeah, y'all stay safe out there. We have this tree in our front yard. This is why the storms make me nervous. We have this tree in our front yard. It's such a beautiful tree, but it's been damaged by some of the really bad storms. And so we lost part of it on one storm and then another part of it on the second. So we have about a third of it left. And my lawn guy told me it was on life support. But I'm afraid if we have another storm, it might knock it down. But I just don't want to get rid of it because it shades the front of our house even a little bit. But it makes me nervous when it storms. So I'm afraid it's going to fall on our house or the neighbors, even worse. So this is the E21 where I'm doing around the outside. Kind of doing underneath her eyes a little bit to kind of make her cheeks look a little poofier. So that's my plan with why I'm putting the color where I am right now. Her hair and everything is covering this arm, so I'm okay with this arm being a bit darker than this one hanging out here in the front. So I'm going to leave just a little bit more on the front arm to put the last color. Oh, you're tree huggers. Yeah, I love my tree, and I just haven't been able to say, okay, just take the tree down and we'll start over because I just love the tree. It still has a third of it. It's not all gone yet. But I know it won't last that because it's weak, but it's been here longer than we have. Before I do her cheeks, though, I need to, I'm going to pull out the pink color. So I'm going to use R11, the last ice storm that we had a couple of years ago. I lost my beautiful pear blossom tree that shaded my entire backyard. Oh, that's so devastating. That makes me sad. I hate when that happens. We were really sad when our tree, we lost part of it, and it wasn't a huge part, so it wasn't too bad the first time around, but the second storm, which was a couple years apart, the second storm really took down a bunch of the tree, and just barely missed the neighbor's car, which thank goodness. And I just don't want to get rid of that tree. Now there's some bushes out front. You could come dig them up and you can have them, because I hate them, but Dale likes them, so they're still there. But the tree, I feel differently about. I'm not a big yard person anyway, but I do like my trees. I had a purple tree in the last house we lived. That was a long time ago. I really liked that purple tree too. There we go. She's so cute. I think she needs just a tad bit more love right here where the dark color meets the light color. Just a little bit. There we go. That softened it up. It fell on my fence and not my house, thankfully. Oh yes, thankfully. All right, now we need to do their tongues. So I'm just gonna use this R11 and this R00 for their tongues, and we're gonna assume these are their teeth on the top and their tongues on the bottom. I mean, it could be both sets of teeth, but I want a tongue, so we're gonna do it as a tongue. And I think it'll be okay. And then I'm just going to touch the rest of the tongue with this R00 just to keep it a lighter color than the R11. There we go. So now we have the basic part of the mermaids done. Now comes the fun part. And I think we're going to do the hair last, because I think we'll get a better feel for what color we want that hair to be once we get the color of the mermaids in there. Last year in Iowa, we had 100+ tornadoes. Oh, Beth, I'm so sorry to hear that. Those are very scary too. In a very long period of time, there's only been one in Rowlett. We were living here and it was scary. Very scary. I mean, the lucky part was I wasn't home when it happened. I was way across town. And I just kept getting all the alerts. And when I got home, it had skipped our little block. So like we are here, and it hit here and here and here and here. And it missed us. So we just got super lucky. Okay, there's so many different ways that you can do mermaid scales. So I think I'm going to do like the dots on the boy, and then I wanted to do more scales like the scales that are drawn in here. So I'm going to use V09 because it's really dark to build more of the scales. So that's what you'll see me doing. So I'm just going to build onto where these scales already are. So I'm just basically doing like whatever a regular mermaid scale would look like. And just building from there. So if you've never done a mermaid scale, it's just U's. These little U's all over the place. So basically what I do is I put, like, this is the first U, right? And then the second U goes on top of each end of the other U. And then you just keep putting those U's on top of each one of the pieces so that you can keep those scales going. So this one and this one. So it just kind of follows that same pattern all over. And you try to move them around just a little bit so that they don't line up exactly. So you just kind of have this whole scale look. Hey, Ollie Dallas, how are you? Nice to see you guys popping in. So yeah, we're just gonna add these little scales because I kind of wanted them to have.
Peggy says she has a friend that lives in Rowlett.
What? You have a friend that lives in Rowlett, Peggy? Is she coming to the? Oh my goodness, why? Paper Ganza? Is she coming to Paper Ganza? I could use somebody to ride with. My person is not going to be able to make it, so I'm going to be driving by myself. We're going to have to connect and find out who this Rowlett person is that I could meet, because I live in Rowlett. She looks funny with these right now, but I promise it's going to look really good when we get done. Yes, you're from Sherman. My sister lives in Sherman. I remember that. Are you driving? Peggy, are you driving? Should we be connecting on that? We should be connecting.
She says she's in Austin now.
Are you driving? We could meet up. We drive through Sherman when we go gambling or to visit my sister or my mother. My mother lives in Bonham. There we go.
She's flying.
Oh, you're flying. Okay. New Virginia, Iowa. Is it? Where in Iowa are you? Oh, okay, I see. So New Virginia is the place. I'm going to make those little waist areas in this darkest color so they kind of stand out when we get, that way when we get done we'll be able to do it. And based on how impactful this part is, you're flying to, I remember you saying that now. You're flying to Colorado and then driving to Paper Ganza. Yeah, I'll be in Colorado right before Paper Ganza. Do you need a ride? We're going to do the tail last because I haven't decided if I'm going to mix a different color with that. I'm going to Colorado for a wedding. No, I'm going to be driving to Colorado the weekend before Paper Ganza and then back home and then, no, so I'm doing kind of the same thing that you are. Okay, so V17. With V17, I'm going to use that one as kind of my shadow color. What's that? Off topic. Oh, yes, I did. I just got my nails done. I love glitter. So my lady, she buys all the glitter ones for me. I love putting glitter on my nails. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for noticing. And I'm going to put some on this underside of her tail as well. Just so we can get some of that in there. There we go. So you'll notice right here, I went in a little bit further with this darkest color just because I wanted it to look like her tail was bending a little bit more. So that's why. You always love my nails. I have a great nail lady. I just text her and she says, yeah, you can come. And then we put glitter and it's fun. Okay, so even though we have these scales in here, I'm going to start putting this color from the edges of both sides. You can still, because I use the darkest color, you can still see the scales in there that we built. You guys are so nice. And this is what's kind of nice when you buy a stamp set that somebody makes that doesn't have the scales on it. That way you can make them however you want them, which is really awesome. So I'm going to be using green on her shirt. So I think we'll mix the purple and green for her tail so it goes really well. I wish I would have known that your writing situation changed. We could have made different arrangements. Yeah, for sure. My grandbaby came for a visit. Oh, grandbabies trump everybody. Because they're awesome. This is V12, so very, very light. So just keeping that light color in the center. You'll notice I left a little bit of white on there. And that's because I'm thinking if I do the tail with some green, I may want to put a little bit on the body as well. So I left it light. If I don't, I'll go back in with the V12 later and fix it. But I'm trying to decide as I go along how I want to color it. Okay, I want to use these green colors for her shirt. So YG17, YG07, and then YG03. That's the other color we're going to use. But we haven't decided her hair color yet. So we'll decide. I don't want to give her green hair. I always feel like green hair looks like maybe you had put too much like bleach in your hair or something. It turned green when you got in the water with the chlorine or the whatever. So I don't know. I don't really technically like doing green hair. Okay, YG07 is pretty bright. It's called acid green. That's the name of the Copic marker, acid green. By the way, I forgot to mention too that Artful Angel also has Copics, some Copics and refills in their shop as well. So if anybody needs that. What about red hair like the Little Mermaid? Oh, we could do red hair. Orange red. Okay. All right. Everybody's got the orange red. The orange red. We may have to swatch it out so I can make sure it's going to match and that we like it. But that is totally fine. We can totally do that. All right. So we are going to make her like the Little Mermaid. Okay, let's work on her tail. Or turquoise hair. I'm using blue, not turquoise on the boy, so I'm not sure if that would be clashy. I don't know. We can try it though. V09. Maybe we can give him a different color hair, like blue or purple or something. And we can give her red hair. So I'm just gonna do the base of this. So it's kind of like the purple leaking into the tail, because this is where it would bunch up and then it'll fan out from there. So we may make the tip of the tail have some green in it. They are really cute. I agree. I think they're really cute. V17 is the next one. So I'm just going to go extend out just a little bit further. But normally I would do some from the other end, but since we want to change the color, we're just going from the mermaid out to the edge of the tail. I think I want this to be just a little further so they mix a little better. I think this one might be my favorite, and the boy, I like this boy's hair. This is the other boy. I like his hair. There you go. I had a lot of fun doing that hair. This is the other one. She kind of has pink red hair. This is like a reddish hair, and the other one was like a pink red. I think I did it with pink and black. Okay, B15 is the color that I'm going to go with next. And then I'm going to move into some green, because now I have one of the lightest purples. There's one more lighter than this, but I feel like this is light enough. It'll make that transition super nice. So we'll have to go back and forth a little bit with that 17 just to make sure that they blend well together. We're going to use a scrap and make sure that they mix well together. So I'm going to put that 2 spots of that V15, and then this is the YG07. I think we can get that one to blend super nice. Let's see if YG17. Yeah, I was worried that one would be a little bit too dark. So I think we'll start with the YG07. So I always test out. I can't help myself. So we're going to come in here, start a little bit up on, and don't stress. I know it doesn't match up right here, but it will when we get done. So just relax for a sec. Don't freak out. If you were coloring it with me, you'd be like, what is she doing? It doesn't work, but it will. So now we go back a little bit with our V15, and then we'll do our V12 if the V15 is too dark. Yeah, it's going to be a little too dark for that blending. So I wanted to go up a little bit higher on this underside right here. There we go. Just when I was going to get Copics from my craft store, they're going to go with Olo markers. Oh, I have Olos too, so we can practice with those as well. But I think they're around 5.5 or something like that at Violetta Ink and at Artful Angel. So you can get pretty good prices at both of those places if you still want to go with Copics. But I have Olos as well. If you want to talk offline, I can tell you what I think the pros and cons are to each. But I think they color, once you get used to them, they color pretty similar. But there are a few that I would still own in Copic even when I had Olo. They still don't have as many colors, and I feel like they still are lacking in a few different areas. And they have a few that don't match up with any Copic, so there are a few Olos I super love. So, yeah. But there's a lot of pros and cons, and it's kind of personal opinion, and some people want to know and some people don't. So, I technically don't necessarily discuss what my pros and cons are, but I'd be more than happy to share that with you for reference. It's not going to be pros and cons of my opinion. It's going to be just basics. So, because I don't really give my opinion. I like them both. They both color. You can get amazing results from either one of them. Just you learning how to use the marker to the best of its ability is how you really get the best out of your marker. I'm adding a little bit of this V12 where the seams are on her tail, just for a little bit more accent of that purple in there. You're really wanting Copics? Yeah, I can understand that. I'm a Copic girl. I will always be a Copic girl. I bought the Olos because there were people who wanted to learn how to color Olos, and I felt bad that there weren't as many people using them, so I learned how to use them so I could share that with you guys. All right, there's only one spot here, so this area right here looks like the blending is not quite what I want it to be. So I'm going to use this V12 one more time. I'm going to turn it upside down so I can really see it and just kind of really work that little area right there. Probably need to bring in the green to finish it up. So this should be the last pass, and it's YG03. And I'm going to go from the outside towards that purple. That way I'm not dragging that purple anymore into where the green is. And now I have a really good mix here. So I'm going to do it this way. It still keeps the tip of my tail green, which is what I wanted. But it definitely helps mix the two colors together. I really like that. I'm going to hold it up here in a second so you can see how well it blends. And you love using both of them to fill in the gaps with Copic. And yes. So the grays that Olo has and that Copic have, they don't match at all. So see how that blends so nicely together there? I feel like I want to put just a little bit of this green in here. So I'm just going to touch the side of my marker in this center area. Just to add a teeny bit of green. I don't want a lot, I just want a little bit, which is why I'm just tapping with the side of my marker. But the grays are really important that you mess around with. That tail is so fun. I really like to do, when you can do them in interesting, different designs, I really like to play it up. Mix it up, make it different. This is the V12. I'm just mixing that in. So now look, it looks like she just has some green scales and some purple scales, and that matches her tail really nicely. I'm happy with that. So we're going to stick with that. And let's do his blue, just so we can make sure, since we're putting him on both cards, we want to make sure that their colors all coordinate well with the paper we're going to use. So thank you, Peggy. I do try, and I try new stuff with you guys. I had no idea how that was going to work out, but I'm not scared. I don't mind trying. And I might even put some of that green in his as well. But I've chosen B18, B16, 14, and 12 for his little scales here. And for him, we're going to do it different. We're going to make his with the little stippling or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm just going to start tapping this in where I want. Some big, some small. I don't want to do the whole thing, but I do want like around his waist to have that, and then down each side. You could do it however you want, but being that he has a few scales drawn in, I want to leave those and accent those when I'm working on this. So I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a minute. I want it to be thicker down here in the tail because there aren't any scales there. You love her. She's so cute. You're a water pencil girl? Oh, wow. I'm envious because I'm not good at I'm not good at watercolor. I've tried and tried, but it's just, I don't know. I just can't do it very well. So I'm accenting these scales because I really do want you to be able to see the scales as well. So I'm doing them in the dark color. That way it doesn't look like we're just trying to avoid these little black lines on his outfit. And I'm going to add just a couple more that I wanted to add in there, just for the heck of it. I would love to see how Copics and pencils work together. I could do some of that. I have been practicing that. I haven't mastered that yet, but color pencils over Copics, because you have to completely finish with your Copics before you put the color pencils over it, because you can't go back over the color pencils with your Copics because it will mess up your nibs. It'll ruin your marker. So I've been practicing it, but haven't mastered it yet. So I haven't actually done one on a live yet, but I could do that. I'm not afraid to try it. If it looks bad, well, you know, we all learn somehow. So I don't mind trying that. I mean, we all can't be great at everything. Somebody has to be able to master the other stuff that we don't. And that's why there's so many influencers online that you can watch, because some people do things one way and some people do them another. And yes, I watch other people, and you know, we all follow somebody. There we go. So this blue changed just a teeny bit. I never would have thought of doing that. Yeah. Yeah, and I have, you could tell me which ones you have. I have all of the, I have the full set of Prisma, and I have the full set of, oh, what are they called? My mind is drawing a blank. I have a whole nother set, Polychromos. I have Polychromos and Prismacolors. Love me some watercolor pencils. I've seen it in some videos, and it just gives a neat effect. It does. But Beth, you're right. I saw it. I think, here's the thing I think about it, and this is strictly just opinion. No, there's no factual basis to this. This is just my opinion. But I think that when you add the color pencil, you can add it for the depth. But I think it really works well when you're working on realistic objects. Things that you want to look real and not like these little cartoon. So if you wanted to color this, you wouldn't color this necessarily realistic, giving it, you know, proper scales and like it would be in real life. Because it's a cartoon. I mean, it looks cartoonish, so you wouldn't want to do that. But if you wanted to do an apple or pear or something like realistic looking, I think that's when the color pencils really make an impact. They do help on these for shading, but I think the impact for me is when I am working on something that looks realistic. So I was doing the dots for the whole process, but now I'm laying my marker kind of on the side to fill in, and this is just completely filling in any white space that was left over, because like I said, in the middle I don't really need that saturated with a ton of the dots. So just kind of filling that in. I want to soften the dots in the middle and leave the dots on the edge a little bit more crisp so that it looks very water-ish. You have Prisma too. Okay, there was a Lilo card from the Sassy Club. It was really neat. Have you seen the Lilo and Stitch? Okay, so I love the Lilo and Stitch ones, and I know you follow me, so you probably saw it. But I did a live video where I added Stitch to a beach background, which was really cool. And I've colored Lilo and Stitch. But you'll have to tag me in the one that you're talking about, because there's this one lady that I super love that creates for the Sassy Club. And but she is from Germany, so all her YouTube videos are in German. So I watch them, but I can't understand what she's saying. But sometimes I can follow just because, you know, I know the markers and I know how they work, so I can follow what she's doing. But she does absolutely stunning work for Sassy Club. It's Lisa something with a K. I can't say her last name, but yeah, tag me. I'd love to see what you're looking at. But yeah, her stuff is, yeah, really stunning. I got a bunch of new Sassy Club stuff. So I got the the die that builds the video arcade-ish thing, and the Pac-Man and all the Monopoly stuff. So I have some super fun stuff to do that we'll get to. And you guys, I can't wait to do the Monopoly one. This is the B16, and we're going to add green to this tail as well, which is why I'm doing it conservatively here, towards staying towards the base of this tail. Because why not add just a little bit of the green to him as well? That way they match up nicely together. We have YG, let's do this little theory again here. So we have, this is the B16. I was thinking we would start from here and turn it to green. So Sassy Club is fun, and I love Sandra, so we're all good. YG 17. Oh yeah, that is gonna be really nice. Okay, I like that transition. So we're gonna start with this. So now we're gonna keep going, but we're gonna turn this a little bit green. I like to mix the colors on their tails. I don't know why, I just think it looks really cute. So I tend to mix mermaid tails. I mean, you could make them exactly the same color as their body, but it's just fun to do it this way. Will this set be in your shop? No, this is Artful Angel's set. It's their new release is today. So she just released this stamp set today. And since our shop isn't going to open in May, it's going to open probably the beginning of June. I didn't do Mermaid because I figured that a bunch of people would already have a bunch of new Mermaid stuff. And I didn't want to be coming late to the, Mermaid game. Something about green and blue so pretty. No, I didn't draw these. These are Artful Angel. And I don't know what the name of her artist was. But like I said, I was visiting her and she asked me to do these if I wanted to help her with her new release. And I said, of course. So that is why we are doing these. Because I did do a mermaid for Sweet Sentiment that will probably make a comeback, but again, I didn't want to be late to the game release of mermaids after everyone else had already done it. So I waited. I did color a bunch of it. So for me, what I have to do is everything that I have to color and make cards and products out of everything that we're going to put in the shop. So that's what's been keeping me super, super busy. So I have to color, I have to draw, I have a lot of stuff in the mix right now. So look at that tail. It looks perfect. It starts off blue and goes green. I really like it. I think it came out great. And I think to bring that green up here, we should put it in his necklace as well. So I'm going to make his little stones in green. So I'm just going to do the top part, and then the bottom part of the stones, I can make them a little bit lighter green. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing with this little band he has. No, I did not draw these. I think you will see a mermaid though that I drew. I would like to do them at some point, more mermaids, because I've only done one in the past, and I'm gonna make this one much lighter. There we go. And I would like to do some more, but I did not make them small like this. Mine was like this. It was much bigger. But these are really super cute. Okay, we have to do hair now. We're out of space for everything else. Do we think the reddish, orangey red hair will still look good on her? And what about him? Like, it needs to be more bright red, bright orangey red than that. So let me see what I let me see what I have over here as far as that orangey, almost like a fiery red. So let's try E. Let's put an E in there for shadow. So let's do like an E19. And then let's grab maybe YR18 so we can have some orange in there. And YR04 to soften it up. And then we'll switch to Y38, which would be a little bit of yellow in there. And I think that might get us where we're going. I'll show you, I'll mix the colors on the paper so you guys can see them. I can't wait for you guys to see the new release. I am so excited about it. I hope you like it. So there, that was E19 and YR18. And then this is the YR04. And then this one is Y38. So it brings a little bit more of a yellowish color to it. And I think that brownish color is enough. I think it's enough that it'll make it look like that reddish, like that orangey, fiery orange hair. I think it'll look good with that. Orange does look really good with purple. So let's take the plunge. Here we go. I know these are strange colors. Most people don't do their hair with, you know, YR18, but we're going to do it. E19, this is where we're going to put the shadow color. So I'm going to put up under here, around her ear. And then we're going to go kind of down her face here. I'm going to put a couple of strands of hair in there. Maybe one right here. So I'm going to start building some of those lines in her hair. Yes, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Just so that I can have a little bit more. So I think some people would do it just colored in, but we're going to add a lot more detail to this hair. You know, because that's the way I roll. Lots of detail in the hair. So I'm just adding those brush strokes in each piece so that it looks a little bit more like hair. And for those of you who did curly hair with me before, you'll know that the key to it is take each section. So this artist actually separated the sections for you, which makes it a lot easier. This piece right here, I think, would be the part that would be the biggest confusion for most people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this part from this part, and then I'm going to separate it here as well. So I want this to look like there's hair there and there's hair here. Okay. And then this one is going to come down like this. So it will meet up with that separation I put right there. And then we're also going to do a few little brush strokes going up into this higher part. A little bit there. So we'll work on this section right here by coming down here and up here. And we'll do a little bit more as we add in colors. But as you can see now, that kind of changes up the way that that hair looks. And then this large piece of hair right here, we're going to separate that one as well. So where it dips in is where the shadow would be. So we're going to do it like this. It's going to add us just a little bit of depth into this part of the hair. And then we'll branch out from there. So we'll have some coming from this way. We don't want these to all be the same length, so we'll add a few in there. We'll do the same thing here. A few extras coming out a little bit further than where we put that original color. And then we're going to come out from here, making a few of these strands as well. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. And we'll do the same thing here and here. And then we'll work on these little pieces for each section there. And now we have the start of the hair that we want. Thanks. Yeah, we're building our foundation with this shadow color. I want this part in here to remain dark. So I'm just coloring that in. I probably should add a little more on that side so they both look the same. And then just like the other side, we're going to do up under her ear and then under her little earring. I don't want to color that in. And then we're just going to start doing these little brush strokes that are going to go in the direction of this hair right here. So up this way. Now we have another piece right here. So up that way. We'll put a little bit in there. And then this is kind of the same as this. So here we go down from here. We'll go up a little bit. This one waves just like this one did. So I'm going to put some depth in here. And then going the other way as well. We're going to do the same thing here. Building just a little bit of depth in those areas where the hair folds. We're kind of building our own little folds there. It just makes everything a little bit easier when you get to that point. And now we have like the basic foundation of what we want this hair to look like when we get done. And sometimes building that with this darkest color is the best, but if you're nervous, use your lightest color first, and that way it'll all get covered up anyway, so if you mess up, you can keep going. Next, we're going to go into our YR18, and remember, just like with curly hair and stuff, we want to do this color in between where our other brush strokes are. So let's just start right here. We want these to go in between. They're going to look like they don't blend. It's okay. They will. In between each one. So just starting to fill in that color. And you're just going to do that in all the sections. So for this one, it'll be one on the inside, one on the outside. This way. Same thing here. These are really small areas. This underside will always stay darker, so you don't need to leave space for the lightest color in that area. And then we'll go up this side of her hair right here. We're going to put a little bit here, all in the white areas. We're sticking into the white areas. This one in between. There we go. Don't worry, we have several more colors, so if we don't have a lot or put too much, we can always fill in with the other colors. There we go. I want to soften that up a little. Just putting these in between, trying to put them in between where the other color was. This one needs just a tad bit more. Want that to stay that color. Because again, it's on the underside, so it is going to be darker. This one, we're going to start curving that so it matches up with our bottom piece. Here we go, in between. Same thing here. And look at how good it's looking. It's starting to come together. It's already coming together. And it really doesn't take that long because her hair is not really that much, because these are small images. But it's going to make a big impact. Look at that. It's so cool. We have YR04, and then we have that color that's going to bring it a little bit yellow. So we don't want to put too much of this YR04, but we definitely want the outside covered in, and then We just want to get some of this. So you're just filling in a little bit of the white area, leaving some for the last color. And you want to soften up anything around the outside. And then up here as well, that we want that to build in, because all of that is underneath this big piece of hair. So it's not going to have the lightest color in it. Down here's the same way. I could have done that the darkest color, but I missed it. And along with this piece right here, we're going to color this like hair. So I just grabbed my E18 and put that in there. That's goals. Yay! I'm going to come back in with my YR18 and just darken this up because it is on the underside of her hair and I don't want it to be that light color. Then we're going to go here. I'm going to make sure around the outside of all the edges is done in this color. Any softening we need to do in this hair, we'll do with this color. Coming this way, because all we have left is our highlight color, which is just going to add a tad bit of yellow, and it's going to be amazing. You'll like it, I promise. Okay, just putting it in there around the outside. Make sure we have that in, and then a few brush strokes through the center white area. Around the outside. Just building that in. And then we have one more color and we are finished. Now, isn't that amazing hair? I love it. You guys picked a good color to do her hair in. I think it looks great. Y38. So we're just going to do this back and forth. It's just going to smooth it out and fill in any of the white areas. We're not going to spend a lot of time. I don't want to blend it out. I want to see all those brush strokes in there. So it's just one coat over all the white areas. There we go. Coming down here. Here, and there we go. And now she has gorgeous hair and she is finished. So we have red hair on her and purple and blue. What color hair should we give him? Round the outside, round the outside. Yes, I say that a lot. Shall we do his hair the same color, or shall we do it brown or black or blonde, or what do we want? I don't know. Let me think for a second, unless you guys have a suggestion. I will. Maybe we can make his hair have like, I can make it more blonde, or we could almost make it like a whitish color, maybe like a really, really blondish white. It won't show a lot of detail if we do that. Nobody commenting. I don't want to give him green hair, but I could give him I don't want to do blue hair, so let's do, I guess we'll do a blonde. Let's do a blonde hair, like a really light blonde hair. So let's try that. And we'll use the E50s on it. So we'll do E50, let's start with E55, and we're going to do this a little yellowish. Okay, we can throw a little yellow in there. You guys know I love my Y11. Okay, we'll throw some yellow in there. We're going to start with E55, and we're going to do the same thing to him that we did to her, but his hair is much shorter, so we're going to start up here at the top and just start building in those little brush strokes, and then we're going to do it from the bottom. And we can pick his hair into sections as well, because this artist gave us some great dividers here. So that's pretty easy. And then this part, I'm just going to curl that around a little bit so it matches with the rest of his hair. This one. So see how we built that? Almost like a little shell on his hair. And then this part right here, this is a little bit weird feeling when you're coloring it. So what I'm going to do is treat that like a bend in his hair, like a folded his hair over, so it's going to be darkest on that area, almost like those dips that we did in her hair, like here. And I'm going to do another small one right here. So it looks like his hair is wavy. Can you see that? It looks like it goes up and down and up and down. And I think that will make it look a little bit more defined. And then this piece right here gives the impression of like putting those lines where the hair folds over. And then because we have this fold here, I'm going to do some brush strokes from that direction. So we kind of built this thing all the way up and down. And always dark right over the ear. So that's where most of his shadow would be. And he almost kind of looks nice like that, huh? Okay, let's pull in the E53. And before I do that, the yellow, I want to put the 53 next to it. And then let's try the Y11 and see how they blend. I think we could get something good out of that. All right, here we go. E53, these are going to be a little bit longer brush strokes. Hoping we only have one more color. So making sure the round the outside is done with this one. And that there is space left for the yellow. So filling this in from each side, each direction. Hopefully you guys can see that. From this side, a little bit that way, a little bit this way, around the outside. And then these, I don't want to put too much, but I definitely need it around the outside of the hair. And then a little bit going this way. Okay, so that leaves us a very light area for the last, for that yellow color. We're going to use a pressure of like half of 1 because we want this yellow to not be too dark. If we lay the marker in there, we're going to lay that yellow down like really dark, and I want the yellow to kind of be like this. Just so we have like a really light tone of the yellow on there. We don't want to overpower what we already have. So we're just going to touch where the white colors are and just put in a little bit of yellow. You see how that adds just a tad bit of yellow? So what you might ask is, oh, what do we do if it's too bright a yellow and I didn't want it to be that bright of yellow? I would go over it with E50 and tone it down just a little bit if it ends up being too bright of a yellow and not looking like blonde, but looking like yellow. But I think this one looks really good, so I don't think we need to do that. But if I thought that was a problem, if you went over yellow, see how light that got right there? If you went over it with this color right here, it would tone that yellow down to a softer color. See how it softens it up? That would have been E50, would have toned it down. But I think he looks good with the yellowy hair. I like it a lot. It was a good call. You guys made a good call on that for sure. So I love these guys now. I'm going to grab my multi-liner because you guys know how I like the eyes to stand out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the eyeball area with this black color. I'll put that white dot back in there after I have the black on there, because look at how much better his eyes stand out when you add the black. It just makes a huge difference. Okay, let's add it to hers. And I'm basically just coloring over the Memento ink I put on there for her eyes, just so they'll stand out more. Look at the difference between that eye and this eye. It's a huge difference. So yeah, I'm pretty committed to doing this with almost every image that I do. But then you have to wait just a little bit for it to dry before you use the white gel pen, or the white gel pen turns gray instead of white. So you have to let it dry. And I don't put a lot of pressure on this. It's a real light touch. I don't want his eyebrows to stand out, but I want her eyelashes to stand out. So I'm just going to add those back in a little bit longer than what they are, because I think that'll really just spiff her up just a little bit. Not that she needs it. She's pretty awesome as it is. But I'm just going to extend them just a tad more so they really stand out a little bit more. It makes her look a little bit dressed up. She's a little decked out. All right. So these are really cute. I'm going to stretch it out so you guys can see me build this card, because I want to add the ink to this. Let's pull these guys off of here while they dry, so we know we'll be done with them. They come off of here really easy. See? They're super cute. Weren't these fun? They were really cute. And then I'm going to put this back on there so we can use it again next time. Then we can use it over and over again. I want to use this paper pad that I also got from Artful Angel. It's, I don't know, Concentorium or something like that. I don't really know what that is, but I've never heard of that. Let's let them dry up here and we'll work on the card base. So this is the one that I wanted to use, this one right here. And I think it's good because I think it'll look really good with our images we colored. Let's try them. See? I think they match that really good, but I wanted there to be a little bit more decoration on the back. So I'm going to peel this off, and we are going to add some bubbles, some bubble effect with this Craft Consortium. I don't know why I can't say that, but yes, that is it. Craft Consortium. Maybe that's how you say it. Consortium. I don't know why you would pick a complicated word that you can't say, but everybody else probably doesn't have a problem. It's just me. Okay. I want there to be bubbles on this. I don't know that I want it to be all bubbles, so I'm going to turn this to the direction that I like the best, and we're going to roll with that. I'm going to use some of this low-tack tape to hold down my paper and my stencil. So I just have this yellow tape stuff that you can get on Amazon. I'm going to tape these two at the same time. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. 2 areas at the same time, just so it's done. You love those you love their papers? Me too. I got some really cool papers from Artful Angel that came from that same place. Here's my brush. I want to use the Tumbled glass first because I really like the tumbled glass and I think it's softer. And then we're going to come in with a little bit of a darker color. So I'm going to put this all over. I know I'm going right over this paper and it is a bit on the glossy side, so I have to be just a little cautious and don't do anything right here because that'll leave a line on my project and I don't want a line. So I'm just filling in some of the bubbles. I know this is blue on blue, so you won't be able to see it all that well, but you'll get why I'm doing it here in just a minute when I do the next step. And notice I'm not touching all the bubbles around the outside because that's really not my goal, is to fill it in all in bubbles. I just want some to be around the kids. Okay. I have to watch the replay. My husband wants to try to beat me at cribbage. You're always such a joy to my life. Oh, thanks, Beth. Have fun. I hope you win. Okay, next we're going to bring in Mermaid Lagoon, but I'm going to use a much smaller brush. This is like a little makeup brush thingy. And what I want to do with this one is I'm going to put the ink on and then I'm going to tap it off a little bit. And then I just want to kind of go around like the bottom of the bubbles, not all of them, but like the bigger ones. Because I want this to look like there's a shadow to the bubbles. So I'm just kind of touching the bottom of the bubbles and we'll blend it out with the first color we used. I'm just adding a little bit in here. I just wanted to add a little bit of a design type idea to it, so I just didn't want it to be plain. And now I'm going to go back in with my tumbled glass. And I know there's a lot of ink around here and I'm cool with that. So I'm just going to blend these together, these two colors together. I think it'll soften and then I think it'll look really cute. So I'm excited and I hope it works out. This is what I had in my head. Who knows what it'll look like, but it's going to be our background. Although the paper pad has extra papers in it, so if we don't like it, we can make it a plain one. But for now, this is what we got. So you can tell, I can tell that you can see it in the camera because I have you on my TV over there. And you can see that the bubbles are darker on the bottom on several of them, and that was my goal. So I'm going to peel this off. I'll put that over there. Dale will clean that later. Okay, so what we have are bubbles of, I mean, they look so much more like bubbles when they're darker on the bottom. So we have a variety here. That is exactly what I wanted it to do, so I'm super happy. I'm going to grab my trimmer now and trim this paper down, and then we have to pick a card base color. Hey, Mama, sorry you're late. It's okay. I mean, you know, sometimes we're doing other stuff and we don't get there always on time. I want to cut this. This is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. And I want the bubbles to be in the center. So I'm just going to hold it like where I can see the 4 here. That's about where I'd like it to be. And we'll trim this side and we'll turn it around. And then we'll line this up to the 4. And that will get us our bubbles right in the center where we want them. You're here now. That's what matters. And then it's going to be 5 1/4. And I want to take some of this off the top. So I'm going to do it right about 5 1/2. And then we'll trim the other side as well. And this will get my bubbles exactly where I want them. So 5 1/4. There. See, now it looks like the bubbles are coming up and then they fade into nothing, which is exactly what I wanted. There we go. And we are going to have to put a sentiment on, so I'm going to save these pieces because maybe I'll stamp the sentiment on one of these. Because you never know. These are our little people, and I did choose them particularly because one can go on one side and one can go on the other, and they're facing each other, which was important to me. I like them to face each other, which is why I chose these two people. I think I'll put my sentiment down here, but we need a card base color. So I'm going to pull out a few. I'm thinking blue, like a darker blue might be better. Like maybe this. I kind of like it. And let's try green to make sure that the blue is the one that we want. I have like a seafoam color, which I think might look good. This is called seafoam. It's a little bit brighter. I don't know. What do you think? Or maybe we'll just do both of them together. I kind of like that. Let's just do both of them together. You know, that's how I roll. We'll probably have to cut down the little paper a little bit to do that. About a 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch smaller. I think that it should go in this order though. The light color should be on the outside and this should be my border, because that way it'll bring out that color, but it won't be too dominating. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Everyone helped me choose the colors for the hair and everything, so that was fun. So this one I'm going to cut to 4 and 5 1/4, and then I'll have to cut the base, this paper, down just a little bit. So it's going to be 3.75, which I'm going to cut a little bit off each end because I still want to keep those bubbles in the middle. So 3.75 by 5. So we did 5 1/4. So I'm going to take just a hair off of each end, like an 1/8. And then that way we can have that matte as well. Yep. Okay. Right now, they've had enough time for their eyes to dry, so I'm going to put the white gel pen on them so that that can dry while we finish the card up. So I'm just going to put in a little bit here, a little bit here with those little eyes. And I guess you guys can't see that well, so I'll show you in just a minute. They have a cute little eyes. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of white gel pen in the center of his stone on his necklace and on these 2 bracelet pieces so that that stands out a little bit more as well. And then for her earrings, we forgot to color her earrings, so I'm gonna make them white as well. They'll stand out looking like they're pearls. I think that would be great. So I'll hold them up so you can see them a little better. See how it looks like, whenever you put that white gel pen, it looks like it pops up on the page, and I really like that. So let's let them dry now and finish our card. I am a simple card maker, so I don't usually do a lot of elaborate anything. And that's because I color the images. And if I'm going to take the time to color them, I want them to be the focus of my card. So that is why I don't make real elaborate cards. I want the focus to be on the image I colored. This is going to get matted on there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. But I'm not going to glue it to the card base yet because we haven't decided what we're doing with this sentiment. And if I need to stamp it, it'll be better to stamp it on this paper before I attach it to the card. I do like the bubbles. I am happy. I wasn't sure because I was only visualizing in my head, but I do like it. I'm gonna flip it over and rub it with my little press pop here. So the glue gets all spread out and the hold gets really good. There we go. Now the sentiment, we have a couple of sentiments. We could do be a mermaid and make waves. Let's see what we have space for. We're gonna put him here. And we're going to put her up here. So we could say, be a mermaid and make waves. I don't want to use that one. It's too big. Or I could say, have a mermazing birthday. Do you like the birthday one? Or do you like the make waves? Mermaid, be a mermaid and make waves. I might have to use that have a mermazing birthday because for some reason that is my favorite one. But if someone else says something else, I may change my mind. You never know. I like to make you guys happy. But you only have a couple of seconds to change my mind. Because I'm about to put this in my Misty. It has a sticky mat in it. So it'll hold that still. I want the mermaids to sit on there so I know where they are. So I can make sure this works perfectly. Oh yeah, I like that. I mean, who doesn't need a mermaid birthday card? We all need mermaid birthday cards. I like to look at this and make sure that the sentiment is straight across. And I'm off just a little, so I'm gonna fix it. I'm up just a little high. So I want to make sure I'm using the lines. I don't know if you ever use them on your Misty, but I'm using the lines that are on here to make sure that my sentiment is straight. Birthday is fine. Good. Yay. Okay, and the ink that I'm going to use is going to be the VersaFine Clear because it's darker. It's really black and it makes me happy and it works really well. I usually don't have to stamp twice unless I just want really, really dark. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to press it with my press pop again. And then we're going to lift it up. It looks good. Wherever the oxide is, didn't stamp as dark. And I think it looks cool. I'll hold it up close in just a minute so you can see it. But I think it looks really cool. It looks like it's trying to put a word over a bubble. Which it kind of is because they are bubbles. But you know what I mean. I'm going to lift this up. It's probably going to be a little wet for a little bit because the oxides are on there. But look, can you see how it's a little bit lighter where the bubbles are? So it looks like the bubbles are floating above the word. So I didn't want to stamp it a second time because I kind of like the way it looks. You line yours up that way too? Yeah, it makes life so much easier. Okay, moving these guys one more time. I'm going to be careful with that because I don't want it to mess up or any. Oh, that's water, not glue. Well, we didn't need that. But we'll be all right. it is a mermaid card. And there is water with the mermaids. So, you know, at least I didn't spray it on the front. There we go. It'll dry and be fine. Sometimes I wonder where my brain is. It was definitely on mermaids in the water for sure. Might be a little struggle to glue this down. I don't know. I've never glued it when the paper was wet before. That's the first time I've done that. So I want to make sure the table is dry before I flip this over to press it with my press pop. What happens if the mermaid sentiment smears? What would you do? You would cut a piece of paper and put it over top and no one would ever know. So even though it's all good, I just want to give you options in case, you know, something bad happens. I think I'm going to glue him straight down. I think we may pop her up. I think that, yeah, we're going to pop her up. So let me grab the pop-up stuff. Cry. Cheryl would cry if she did that. Nah, we can fix it. You can always fix it. There's always something you can do. And if you can't think of it, reach out to another crafter and I bet they'll come up with something. You can always save something. You can always save it somehow. And never give up. I've only thrown away one project I was working on. As far as like a full project like this. Like when I'm making dies or, you know, project dies and things like that, I throw a lot away. Because it either didn't work or, you know, I want to make it a different size or, you know, whatever. There's a lot of trash on the floor. But when I'm coloring, I always alter it so that I can still use the image. I don't ever want to throw anything away. I feel like I work too hard on it. I don't want to throw it away. But one time I was practicing dark skin tone and I had changed it so much that you couldn't even see the eyeballs or the mouth anymore. And that's the one I had to throw away. So there was no way to fix that one. That was the only one I couldn't do anything with. Now I could have just cut like the head and replaced it with a new one and still had all the rest of it. But this was way back when I first started coloring and first learning how to do it. And I didn't think about that. But now I do. So if I were to have messed up on the head or the tail, I would just cut that piece off and add another piece to it from another stamped image. And I'm telling you, when somebody's looking at your card, they are never, ever going to notice that. They're so, oh, look at, it's so pretty. You colored it so well. And they're not going to even, they're so in awe, they're not even going to notice small, minor imperfections. So don't be too hard on yourself, ever. Here we go. She's popped up. So I'm going to put her on there. And then I'm going to put him on there. And we're going to add some bling. Because, you know, got to have bling on there. Here we go. Oh, so cute. I'm going to press him with my press pop. I think all my white gel pen is dry. So I'm good on that. Oh my goodness. You guys, this is so cute. I'm going to use some bling. And I don't know, do I want to use, I think I'll use these blue ones. They're so pretty. I think they match nicely. So let's do a little bit up here. I need a little bit more glue than that. So it will grab my stone. This is the smaller one, so I know there's enough glue to grab that stone. But I think I'm going to use a bigger one again. Or maybe I'll use this. Hold on. Let me see how many. I can't see very well. The lighting is not that great over here in this corner. I think I want to use that one right there. Yeah, that's the one I want to use. And I need more glue for that. I thought I had bigger stones, but I don't. There we go. And then we're just going to put a couple more down here. And not very many, and I'm going to make them small ones. So I think right here and right here. And then I think that's all I want to put on there. You guys don't know, but I have to have a lot darker studio in here. Otherwise, the coloring is off when you guys are watching the live. So that's why it's hard for me to see what I'm looking at. Because I don't have a whole lot of light. So I'm about to dump these little things out of here so I can find the size I want. I want that one right there. Yep, that's the one. I want this one. There we go. And then I want this one right there. And it's okay if the glue goes too far around the outside because it dries clear, so you can't see it anyway. So it's totally fine. It looks mermazing. You have to go potty the pup. Have a good evening. Yep, we're done. This is our mermazing. Have a mermazing birthday. So cute. I'm almost half tempted after the live to do the shell or the crab right here in the corner. Here's the crab. See the crab? He's so cute. And here's the shell. So you never know. I may add them later, but for right now, this is our card. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, this is Artful Angel stamps. And there's two sets. One is the mermaids and the other one is the sentiments. And I'm so glad you guys like it. It's so cute. And the colors came out so good. You guys did great on helping me pick all the colors. I might have to ask you more often. You guys have a fabulous weekend. There might be more sneak peeks in the future. Stay tuned so that you can see what's coming, and we will have a grand opening date for you soon. We are waiting for the stamp company feedback before, so we'll know that we have them. So as soon as we have that, we'll be able to better gauge when the opening will be, and we will let you know. You did enjoy it. You will go look at her shop. Yeah, she has some really cute stuff. When you're looking at her shop, make sure you look at the, are they, what did she call them? Like the little iguanas or the little like gecko looking, oh, I can't remember what they're called, but they're so cute. So look at them. The bearded dragon. That's what it is. They're really cute. I like the bearded dragon too. Okay, good night. You guys have a great evening. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday. If there's anything you want to see or want to have colored, let me know. Feel free to PM me anytime. And I will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Good night.